Good morning, friends. We'll begin with a chant today. Let's begin with a prayer. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswar, our beloved Guru, Paramhansa Yogananda, saints of all religions, friend and guide Swami Kriyananda, Humbly we bow at thy feet. Divine Mother, guide us in every thought and action that we have. Help us to choose that which will expand our consciousness. Help us to choose that which will bring us closer to thee, that we may walk the path with steadfast determination, with joy, with attunement, and with love. Om. Peace. Amen. Good morning, friends. Today we are going to talk about loyalty, which Paramahansa Yogananda says loyalty is the first law of God. So it's something that's important for us to be thinking about in our own lives, especially those of us that are sincere spiritual seekers and those of us that are devotees of a guru, or particularly our guru, Paramahansa Yogananda, for those of you that are on this path. I was speaking with a colleague the other day who was telling me about a friend that she had. And this friend was at a crossroads in her life. She had met someone that she was deeply in love with, wanted to start a family with him and build a life together. But his life was taking them somewhere else. And we live here in the Bay Area. And his life and his career and his needs were taking them away from the Bay Area. But she had a career that she was loving. She had goals and things that she wanted to achieve in her life. And so, excuse me, she was caught in this crossroads of following her desire to have a family, to be in love with this person and to start a life together, or following her ambitions and really sitting with what decision needs to be made. Now, of course, it's not a one-sided decision. It's something that they would have to decide together and go through all of that. For the sake of the story, that's not what's important. I don't know this person personally. But as I was listening to my colleague, my friend, speaking about this situation, it came to me and I thought just automatically, this is not someone who's on a spiritual path, so I didn't say it to her, but I thought automatically, I feel so grateful that I'm on a spiritual path. And because those crossroads, they don't become as distinct for us. Once we've chosen a spiritual path, our life becomes one-directional for the most part. It doesn't mean that we don't have to make hard decisions along the way, but this torment that this young woman was in between deciding a life of happiness in terms of the family and the love and the companionship that was being offered to her, or the outward successes and the goals and the material success and wealth that was coming from the position she was holding and the career that she was chasing. You know, I thought automatically, if this person were on a spiritual path, the question would not be what's going to make me happier. The question would be, what is my dharma? The question would be, what does my guru want me to do? The question would be, what's going to bring me closer to the divine? And suddenly, this question of where do I go, what do I do, I'm being pulled in so many different directions, we're just given that tap on the shoulder that brings us back into alignment. Because the choices don't become as hard. The choice becomes, what is my dharma? What's bringing me closer to God? And again, it doesn't mean that the choices are simple, but that path that we're walking, suddenly it becomes more concise. It becomes clearer. And we get to walk that path. The brush is moved away, and it becomes clear to us where we're walking. It may be straight up, and we may say, wow, that's a long ways to go. Being on the spiritual path doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be easy, but it becomes simple. This is something that Yogananda said, God is simple. Everything else is complex. And I really felt that for, again, this young woman that I don't know in that moment, the complexity of having to decide between these two things that the world teaches us are happiness. Happiness in family, in companionship, in love, or happiness in outward success, in career goals, in material wealth. And that pull in both of those directions, it just leaves us questioning, what if, what should I do, where do I go, which road do I take? But once we dedicate ourselves to a guru, once we dedicate ourselves to a spiritual path, God is simple. doesn't become which road do I take to lead to greater happiness. It becomes that question, can I go inside? Can I meditate? Can I listen for what the answer is? Because my only path is that which will bring me closer to the divine. My only path is attunement with the Guru. It made me think about the famous American poet Robert Frost, who wrote the poem, "The Road Not Taken," which anyone who grew up in going to American schools, going through the American school system, probably encountered this poem at one point in his or her life. And the first stanza of the poem is, "Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. But be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth." And it just brought this image of this young woman to light who is making this decision. Here she is standing at these two crossroads. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And what struck me when I went back and read this poem last night was that next line, "But be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could." When we're standing alone, that decision can be very difficult. When we're standing alone, we have to ask ourselves and torment ourselves, what is the right choice? What's going to bring greatest happiness? But as soon as we magnetize the Guru's presence into our life, and we magnetize the Guru's presence by our deep longing and desire to know God, we're no longer standing alone. So we don't have to look at that and say, two roads diverge in a yellow wood, and be one traveler long I stood. Suddenly we have a guide who's walking along with us, who's showing us the path, who's saying, let's go this way. And again, maybe you're looking at that path and it's straight up and you say, wow, there's going to be some difficult steps along this journey. But the guide is there, ushering you, helping you into that next step. And all we have to do is have the faith to step into that guidance with complete loyalty, which brings us back to what I said at the very beginning, which is that loyalty, Paramahansa Yogananda said, loyalty is the first law of God. Loyalty to the Guru, devotion to the Guru, our using our willpower, our perseverance, and we'll talk about what each one of those things means. Loyalty can be a big word, it can be a scary word. I think about when Swami Kriyananda first met Paramahansa Yogananda, and Yogananda said to him, I give you my unconditional love, will you give me yours? And he says, yes, sir. Then Paramahansa Yogananda asks, will you give me your unconditional obedience? And Swami Kriyananda hesitated for a moment, and it wasn't until Yogananda responded, I won't ask anything of you that Divine Mother does not ask of me, that Swami Kriyananda could take that step, take that next step. At this point, he was Donald Walters, could take that next step and say yes with complete faith. I give you my unconditional obedience. These are big words in our world, loyalty, obedience. But what does it truly mean? It truly means holding on to and holding on to with faith that which is going to bring us lasting happiness. What do we want to be loyal to in our lives? Do we want to be loyal to that which is going to bring us God realization? Or is it all of those other things that give us the incremental fulfillments that are going to make us happy in the moment, that are going to make us feel better today or tomorrow or for the next 10 years? Is that really what we want to choose to be loyal to? Is that really where we want to tether ourselves? Of course not. We know, because as soon as the Guru is magnetized to us, it's because the soul's call has gone out. I want to know God. That's what we are linking our loyalty to. And this loyalty strengthens our integrity. This loyalty helps us to magnetize that energy within ourselves to take those next steps on the journey, whether it's crossing over rivers and waterfalls and huge rocks and boulders that we have to scale. That magnetism, that energy that is developed through our loyalty, that is developed through our ability to trust and say, yes, you are my guide, I will follow you. That's the step that we want to take. And what this looks like, I was thinking about what this looks like in our lives and how we manifest that for ourselves. And I've mentioned these 3 words before, and I wanted to just talk about each one of them individually: willpower, devotion, and perseverance. The practice of loyalty, at least in my opinion, when I was sitting with this last night, what I experience of loyalty in my own life, it takes these three elements, the first of them being willpower. What is willpower? Willpower is all of our energy, all of our efforts, and all of our strength. Yogananda said that the search for God, that God realization is 25% the effort on the part of the devotee, 25% the effort on the part of the guru, and 50% the grace of God. But as we know, that 25% is all of our strength and all of our energy. We have to give everything that we have into into the guidance of the guru. What is it that these teachings are asking us to do? What is it that my teacher is asking me to do? Because if we just sit back and pick and choose, we become malnourished. We can't develop that deep, longing, lasting relationship that's going to help us through those hard times and those struggles and those trials as we're climbing that mountain and that road, that path that we've taken. I think about speed dating. Most of us probably know what speed dating is. If you go and you're looking to find a date, you sit down and there's a whole room full of people and you spend 2 minutes with this person and 2 minutes with this person and 2 minutes with this person. And then I've never done it, I've only seen it. So I don't quite know if that's exactly how it works, but I imagine it is. And then at the end of the night, you get to decide, is there somebody here who I think I can have a lasting relationship with, that I would like to take the next step with? What can we learn in 2 minutes? And what does that mean? Maybe you're interested in having a great conversation with this person in front of you, but while you're having that conversation, you're kind of thinking about the person 3 or 4 minutes ago that you just met and saying, well, is this person better than that person? I'm not sure. Maybe I need to go back and take a look at that person again and sit down. It fragments our magnetism and our energy. And we can't develop those deeper relationships when our energy is scattered in different places. And this is what loyalty to the guru means. It means concentrating that energy in one pointed focus. Another example or another way that I was thinking about this was just being in a candy shop, and all of a sudden you can have all the sweets and treats that you want, and you're just a little kid picking up all of the chocolates and jelly beans and all of the things that we love and that are delicious to us. And you feel great for a few moments, maybe for a few hours, and all of a sudden that inevitable sugar rush comes to a crash and we feel tired and fatigued. And this is what can happen to us in the world. We can think about, well, I'm going to take a little bit from this path, but I also really like what's happening over here, and I'm going to pick up this practice from this path over here, and all of a sudden we can feel these initial bursts of energy. I really like what's happening there. But what is it that the guru is really asking of us? What is the one thing that keeps us distant from the divine? It's our indifference. And the way that we magnetize our energy and our concentration and our focus is through that loyalty. 25% of our effort is what helps us reach self-realization, what helps us reach God, but that is all of our energy, and we don't want that energy getting fragmented. Instead of tasting all of the sweet treats and feeling the inevitable crash that comes at the end, what if you could take one bite of nourishment from the food of God? That's what the guru hands to you. Leave all of those jelly beans behind. Take one bite of this, and you will feel satisfied for eternity. Well, there's a promise that's much better. Devotion is the second quality that I thought about when I was considering how do we practice loyalty. What does it look like to give all of ourselves into to the guru and to his teachings? And of course, devotion is awakening the heart. And immediately I thought about the practice of meditation that that our guru asks each of us to do daily, whether it's Hangsa or whether it's Kriya meditation. What we're doing is we're moving energy up through the heart. It's not just about the heart's desire. When it's awakened, it can either go down and out into the world, or it can go up to the guru. And as we're practicing devotion through meditation, what we're learning to do is direct that heart's energy, that heart's love, up to the spiritual eye, up to the point of Christ consciousness. So we use all of our energy and our willpower, and we marry that with the heart's devotion. Here we are stepping into, yes, with full and complete faith. I give you everything that I am. I give you all of my will, all of my energy. It's Just like the prayer that Yogananda has often said is one of the highest prayers that we can pray. I will reason, I will will, and I will act. But guide thou my reason, will, and activity toward the highest good in all. This is the prayer that we can practice when we're actually living with that thread of devotion and that thread of willpower, and ultimately of perseverance, because this is the one that takes the most effort. As I said, I was struck when I was listening to my friend speak about her friends standing at this crossroad and saying, I'm so grateful for being on the spiritual path because the choice is simple. But simple is not easy. Simple is not where we get to just sit back and relax. Being on the spiritual path takes great energy, great effort. We will come up against many trials. So the practice of perseverance is essential in that process, because perseverance is our ability to sustain our energy. It's not just about being able to put out an initial burst of energy, but loyalty, the practice of loyalty, which Yogananda says is the first law of God. The practice of loyalty takes perseverance. It takes sustained energy, coming back again and again, no matter how many times that meditation feels like it was a struggle, coming back the next morning, the next evening, and sitting down on the pillow again, saying, I will wait, however many days, years, months it takes in order to feel you. I will persevere. I will give you everything I am, my willpower, my devotion, with great perseverance, so that we can climb up that mountain, so that we can each, step by step, offer ourselves deeper and deeper into the divine. So the beautiful thing is, just as Robert Frost tells us, 2 roads diverge in a yellow wood. Sorry, I could not travel both, but be one traveler long I stood. We're no longer one traveler. The moment that we accept the Guru's presence into our lives, the moment we ask for the Guru to come to us and the Guru replies, we're no longer standing alone. And I was just thinking about, the metaphor of that trail that each one of us is climbing, and we're all headed towards the same place, though each one of us has a different trail, and there's all of these little side roads, right? Here's a little, come see this beautiful waterfall. It'll just take you 6 or 7 years of your life. Just come over here, come for a little detour. And we look at it and say, well, a waterfall would be nice. It looks a little bit flatter than what I need to climb right here. What, 6 or 7 years or 6 or 7 lifetimes? And we head off in that direction. But when we're walking with the Guru, just puts a little sign up that says trail closed, keep going this way. Okay, then we walk up the next step, and here's a little plateau with a picnic set out. Come, join us. It'll just take a little bit of time. And we look at it longingly, but the Guru says, no, let's keep climbing. Let's move this way together. Puts another trail closed sign up for us, so that we're not caught at these crossroads. We know where we're headed. We know where we're going. And again, it may be straight up and it may be difficult, and there may be times when we need to rely on the help of our friends, on the help of our family, on the help of our Guru. But we know with perfect faith where we're headed, because we know that at the end of that road is self-realization. And all it takes is every bit of our energy, every bit of our devotion, and our ability to persevere. That can sound like something really big, but it's not. It's simple. God is simple. Everything else is complex. All we have to do is magnetize that energy with great integrity, with great force. We move through the world knowing that we are one with God, and we just take one step in front of the other. God bless you.